race for Jaguar TCS Racing with Emily, who's in the front row. It's lovely to see you all this afternoon. Thank you for joining us for our little press conference. We like to keep things informal. If anybody has any questions at the end, please just raise your hand and we'll get a microphone to you. We'll keep this nice and short and sweet. But Sam, maybe if we can start with you. You've had a busy day this morning, you've done quite a lot of interviews and you've done the track walk. What's your first impressions of the Hyderabad track?
So hello everybody. Got to say the track looks awesome, guys. Really cool combination of corners. I do feel as a driver that we might have to address some issues regarding turn 1 and 2. However, the rest of the circuit looks great. I think once it cleans up, we should have quite a bit of grip. And yeah, let's see how it goes. I think it could suit us.
What do you mean by the issues at turn 1 and 2?
So what we've created, or what Formula E has created at turn 1 and 2, is a very fast chicane. And I feel that it will be a difficult area to police track limits, and it's also an area where cars could be damaged with where the flooring area is.
Mitch, you've driven, I guess, many hours on the simulator before you came here. Are you crying? Or maybe you cry, sorry.
I'm tired.
Okay, yeah. Didn't get that much sleep last night.
No.
You've driven many kilometres on the simulator. What was your impression actually seeing it in the flesh today?
Honestly, very similar. I think the first impressions on the simulator were really good. Like the layout, it looks enjoyable, challenging, very challenging actually. And I mean, obviously not been on track in the real thing, but it does feel, you know, the track model we had on the sim was very similar to what we're going to get. So yeah, challenging lap, very hard to set the car up, especially in these temps. It's our first hot race, so we're not really sure how this car combination with the new Hankook tyre will work in these temps. So yeah, but also quite a challenging circuit, I think, for us to get on top of. So but we like the challenge, obviously, and hopefully, ultimately, want it to be enjoyable for us, but also, you know, to put on a good show for everyone watching.
Looks like it's going to be quite fast, but also in the middle quite technical.
Yeah, I think we'll see our top speeds. Obviously, we start the lap with a very fast chicane. Well, probably should be a straight line, but kind of a chicane. But probably our top speed of the year into turn 3 and one of the biggest stops that we'll see with this car. So probably obviously quite an important overtaking opportunity. Then after that, into sector 2, it's one of these sectors where a lot of the corners flow into one another and they're quite awkward. So I think it's going to make it really challenging for us to execute, but also get the setup right. And then quite a technical slow into the lap, which you can obviously lose a lot of lap time. So yeah, I think curb riding here is going to be a big thing, but just trying to set the car up for one lap to make sure you've got, you know, tyres in the lap in the right window, and then obviously look towards the race for the 45. Well, how many laps we've got here, about the 45-ish minutes. It's going to be challenging, and plus the temperature, so we're going to be sweating as well. So,
do you like driving in the hot conditions, Sam?
After doing Formula E for so many years and other formulas, we're conditioned to it. At the end of the day, we are athletes and we do train for these kind of scenarios. We've raced in Putrajaya, we've raced in Santiago, races where it's been well over 35, 36 degrees, and also Jakarta last year. I think that the humidity was like well over 80%. So yeah, we are conditioned, we're ready for it, and it should be good fun.
You have quite a unique way of training for this race involving a bin bag. Can you explain a bit more?
Yeah, so for the hotter conditions in the off season, just to get my body used to the heat, cut holes for the arms and the head into a black bin bag, put the bin bag on, tuck it into your shorts, t-shirt on over the top, tuck that in, and then a hoodie. The heat then never disappears from inside the bag and you get very warm.
But you've got a good washing machine. James, welcome. Thank you for joining us. James Barclay, the team principal of Jaguar TCS Racing. James, your first impressions of Formula E racing here in Hyderabad and how important that is for Jaguar, for the group, and also for Formula E.
Yeah, well, firstly, morning everyone. Great afternoon. Great to be here. It's really a key market for us. What's exciting is that we have 3 fantastic new venues this year: India, Cape Town, South Adelaide. But for us, this is very much a home race. We're really fortunate to be a proud part of the Tata ecosystem and also to have TCS as a title sponsor. So for us, this is a home race as we see it. It's one we're really looking forward to. And India represents a massive opportunity for the sport. Huge motorsport following. We have actually a lot of fans from India who really follow the team, but it represents a massive opportunity in the world's largest country. There's a population that has an interest in motorsport. I think it represents a significant benefit. And we look at the coverage this weekend. We're live across 3 channels here in India, which is fantastic news and just demonstrates, I think, the interest that's here. And hopefully it's a great foundation year for the immediate future and really building formally in India. I think it's great to have the last World Championship event happened here in 2013. So I think it's really fantastic that World Championship Motorsport is back in India.
How important is that for the series, do you think, to actually break into new ground? We went to new countries last year. We've raced in China, we've raced in the US, we've raced in Indonesia. How important is it to break into those new markets?
Yeah, for us, two reasons. For a sport, it's critical that we continue to grow. Where there's appetite and hunger. I mean, we used Jakarta as a new race last year. We turned up in Jakarta, had just under 60,000 fans live at the race in Jakarta, huge television audiences. So it is really important for us to continue to grow as a championship, along with established markets, so particularly European markets, US. What is really important is we continue to expand the sport. What's unique about us, though, is also at the heart of it is a really important message, is that we are demonstrating the benefit of zero-emission mobility, and that's really critical. We're racing in locations like here in Hyderabad, like in Sao Paulo, to demonstrate the benefits that zero emissions can have from a broader mobility perspective. So sport with purpose always means more, and what's really fantastic about Formula is we're coming to countries where the transition to electromobility is fundamental for a sustainable future. So yeah, twofold.
You talked about TCS, obviously our title partner. You were lucky enough to go to the campus a couple of days ago. What was your impression there? What was the reaction that you got from the employees of TCS and the fans?
Just absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, as I mentioned, we're incredibly proud to have TCS as a title partner, visiting the Hyderabad campus, which is just a phenomenal, I'd say, hotbed of innovation and talent, and just the scale and the size of that facility is absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, we're really pleased because the know-how, the capability that TCS has is going to help us, the team, particularly with regards to digital technology as we go forward, and to see how passionate the employees are of TCS, of the partnership, of the relationship that we have together is really motivating. And I can't say I've ever been to an employee activation where we had such passionate and such a large turnout.
Mitch, you were there as well. Was it a bit strange for you to see these passionate fans? Even though this is your first visit to India, they were very well informed about the sport and Jaguar TCS racing.
Yeah, I think we're quickly realizing how big our fan base is here, which is great to see. Similar to when we went to almost like Jakarta last year, like very passionate, very educated fans. And I think obviously with us being with TCS, it adds an extra element. But yeah, I think one of the campuses we were at yesterday had up to 40,000 employees. We didn't have all of them there, but we had quite a few thousand, which was amazing. And they were there for the whole presentation and just super informed and all very eager to get a photo afterwards, which is great. We love that passion. We hopefully, we can put a good show on and a good result between Sam and I when it comes tomorrow.
Sam, you celebrated your 100th Formula E race in Diriyah a couple of weeks ago. You managed to get on the podium. Congratulations. How have you seen this sport completely transform in the 100 races that you've done in the now 9th season for Formula E?
I think that just when it began in 2014, nobody knew what to expect from Formula E. How would the races work? What would happen? Would it succeed? Would it last a season even as a series? But what it's done is it's gone from strength to strength. Obviously in the recent years it's become a bona fide FIA World Championship event, which is amazing for the teams and the drivers. It gives it a lot more clout. More manufacturers involved in Formula E than Formula 1 at stages in our most recent history, with some major manufacturers taking part, obviously including the one that we drive for here, Jaguar. So yeah, it's been an amazing journey to watch it grow and succeed as a championship, and I just hope that continues to be the case.
So you've done lots of interviews this morning, but you're actually getting to do the day job later. You get to get in the car. What's the approach going into shakedown and that free practice session this afternoon?
Well, it's interesting here, and in Saudi we've got what we're considering an FP0, which is an area that is normally called a shakedown. Shakedown is normally one flying lap and then back in, which is technically 3 laps. Although Saudi and here, the FIA have given us a half-an-hour session, so it's almost like a practice session. So we are just going to execute the run plans that our engineers want us to do to try and achieve and gain a lot of good data that then we can take forward to the free practice one.
Mitch, you had a great deal of success last season at new tracks, winning in Jakarta, winning in Seoul. Try and make it 3 in a row?
I mean, it's obviously the plan.
No pressure, sorry.
Yeah, thanks. No, I think we've always had good success and a good approach to new circuits since we joined the category back in season 3. So always enjoy new tracks. The challenge, the approach is always interesting. How you get on top of what the particular track needs from a driving point of view, from a setup point of view. It can be, or recently it's been a really rewarding challenge, and we obviously want to continue that into this year. It's obviously a new, quite a slightly different challenge in terms of it being with the Gen 3 car and the hand-cooked tires, so that's going to add a different element to it. But you know, in terms of all the homework we do, you know, from the team's point of view, from my point of view, you know, remains the same, and hopefully we can get on top of the track early, and with it being a one race, you have to really get on top of it quick and execute a strong day.
James, final question to you before we open this up to our colleagues. You took the slightly unusual step. You went out on the track walk yourself. You were keen to see the track today. Can you just give us a bit of an insight into what the technical challenges are going to be this afternoon for practice, but also for qualifying in the race tomorrow?
Yeah, it's normally we don't have time as team principals to do the track walk, but there was just time ahead of the meeting today. So yeah, really fascinating to see the circuit. It's always nice to see a new circuit as well. It has everything the drivers have talked about, which is quite clear, a combination of high speed, of lower speed, really technical sections where the line is going to be really critical. Setup wise, you know, we'll need to kind of evolve quite quickly here, and I think what we have seen is, as Sam mentioned, part of our early sessions. So FP0 and what we call shakedown and FP1 is actually going to be really critical. We get a good sweep of what we think is going to work, because you know, on paper, what we saw in the simulator, hopefully that does correlate well, but if it doesn't, we need to adapt. But it looks, as a circuit, it looks like it's got a really nice flow to it. I'm not the one in the car, but I can see what the drivers have said it has a good flow to it, and there's some really cool sections which I think are going to make for good, just qualifying, but also good racing. So yeah, it's teeing up, I think, as a really great race circuit.
Thanks, all 3 of you. Does anybody have any questions they want to raise their hands?